Welcome everyone. It's Wednesday, 3 p.m. right here, Eastern Time in New York, and it is time for Mikey Crazy Hawk's favorite show of the week, LegalSteroids.com presents Gearin Up. Use the video code MuscleVideo30. You save 30% off your entire order at LegalSteroids.com. What's up, Steiner? Marc Lobliner, our special guest, requesting to come in. Let's get him going. Let's get Mr. Liner in here. Waiting for Mark. Let me
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
What's up, bro? How the fuck are you?
Man, I'm good. It's a little chilly out here in Tennessee, but I had to get some fresh air, man.
You're in Tennessee, okay.
Yeah, man, I'm in God's country right now. We opened this bitch up before anybody else. We're kicking ass over here.
Last time I saw you was in sunny LA, and little did we know it would be the last expo of the year so far.
You know what? It's I'm okay with it. We've actually restructured where we're not going to be doing many expos. When you actually add the brass tacks of it, when you add the nuts and bolts, you realize these expos, to actually make a profit on them and reach enough people with all the noise around there, it's a racket. I did it as a way. I like seeing people, meeting people, and I'm okay with losing money occasionally for the greater good. But at the end of the day, it's like you got to make these financial decisions, and there's better options out there. So we had a chance to kind of refocus. A lot of people didn't have the opportunity to refocus. They're busy trying to survive. So for me, I'm going to miss meeting people, but there'll be plenty of opportunities to get around, and hopefully we're able to host our own events.
Yeah, and hopefully this thing gets better sooner than later. But you and I have had a lot of fun together on Twitter.
Twitter's my place, man.
I want to thank Alec Doty, who said, "Hey, Mark, why don't you go on Joe's show and talk about it?" And you're like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Let's do it." Boom. That was yesterday.
Yeah, we can. I can pretty much make my own schedule. Today I train over. Brandon Curry trains up at Carbon Culture right down the road from my house. So we got a lot of stuff. We usually train around noon. When the film guy comes around 5. So I'm like, anytime that's not like between 11 and like 2, I'm good usually. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. I can restructure things.
Yeah, no, I love it when you've said that. I'm like, you're available, you're in. We do it. So let's talk a little bit about this whole thing with the fucking lockdown and everything. I mean, you and I, we see eye to eye in a lot of things.
We do most
90%. Things, and other things we don't, which is fucking cool. That's fine. There's no problem with that.
And I reserve the right to completely change my point of view at any given moment, which I do. I took for 39 years I was pro-choice, even after having 2 miscarriages. And just this year, you evolve, you develop, and you look at things differently, and you read more and you learn more. And so I'm pro-life. But I spent 39 years being pro-choice. And I'm not out there protesting and picketing. But if I have a choice,
your personal decision.
And that's my personal, but that can change again. And that's the thing. People get so, partisan. They get so, like, we're a tribal culture, America, and just humans in general. Humans are tribal. They want to belong to something. So people go, I'm pro-life. And once you make that statement, you can't change no matter what the evidence is. You have to get, pigeonholed into that one. And people do that with training too. How many people would have great results? They tried different training, but no, Dorian said do it this way, or Sean Ray said do it this way. What if you tried another training technique and it worked better?
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And a lot of things with the lockdown, it seems to be that, I know you said you're independent. You're an independent as far as your affiliation, political party goes. But it seems that a lot of where the trouble, I'll use for lack of a better term, is in the blue states.
Yeah.
So I mean, to me, it almost looks like Trump he took flack when he said it's his decision, and then he said, okay, it is. That's not constitutional. You're going to be the king then, like the King George.
You're right.
For the Constitution. So he gave it. Said, okay, the 50 governors have say on when they want to reopen and how they want to reopen, and follow the phases that we're recommending through the medical team and the staff and all of that task force. And it seems that a lot of these states that are where they're not opening up and there are these protests, are blue states.
Yeah.
So I kind of think if Trump had say over them, we wouldn't be getting a lot of these protests. We might have better structure, but then we'd be hearing, there he is, Adolf Hitler again, you know, the white nationalist, the racist. What do you think about that as far as him having say over the governors or governors having say like they do now?
Well, I mean, the thing is, what we found is that governors are doing whatever they want until they're challenged in court. And if you read, if you're a constructionist, I'm a very, constitutional-minded person. The 10th Amendment states pretty clearly that each governor is basically to govern his or her sovereign state. So I think Trump did the right thing in going, okay, you know what, California, you know what Californians want. They voted you in, right? You and I don't know if anybody likes what that bitch in Michigan's doing. And then you got, Tennessee. And Tennessee is one of those where our governor was the last one to shut it down. The left was screaming at him, the people up in Nashville and Memphis. And then he's like, wait, I'm going to shut it down. But as soon as he had the chance to open, he did it. But he did it almost like Trump, but on a state level, where he's like, you know what? I'm going to open up all these counties, but there's 6 of the populous counties, including Nashville and Memphis, where he's like, hey, you guys figure it out. You know your areas better than us. So he let the Democrat governors of those Democrat states handle their shit. And now here's where I think Trump might be, playing people, in that now people are turning on the mayor of Nashville like, hey, we have to go to Franklin. We have to literally drive 10 minutes to be able to shop and go to the gym. My gym had like 5 new signups yesterday. It's a small gym. It's Brandon's gym. 5 new signups yesterday from Nashville people because they can't train yet. So it's one of those things. And there's also the state issues. For example, there's a town in Tennessee and Virginia. It's called Bristol, Tennessee, and Bristol, Virginia. It is split in half. Half of it's in Virginia, half in Tennessee. So literally you cross the street and you're in lockdown. You cross the other street and you go shopping, go to restaurants, train. So it's getting, I think almost that, I don't know if he's smart. I don't know if he's just lucky, but I think it might be swaying a lot of opinions to, wait a second, like this is what happens when government gets too much control.
Yeah. I
could be.
I'm here in New York, so obviously it's a blue state.
Yeah.
I believe Governor Cuomo is doing a fucking horrendous job, and a lot of it is hitting home for me with this whole nursing home issue with some decisions. And so I feel that sometimes these governors, if they do make the decision, but it's not the right one, there's nobody there to correct it. Who's going to correct it? So it's like, all right, your state's starting to open. That's good. Let's say things are going good. When are they going to start opening up these other states with, and then if there is a second outbreak, are they going to all of a sudden shut it down again? It's like, I hope that's not the case, obviously.
Well, I think you look at Sweden and you look at what we did. Like no one ever said the virus is going to go away. To look for an RNA-based vaccine, which has never really been done before. Even the flu vaccine at its best day is 50%. On its worst day, 2017, where 80,000 Americans died, was at about 10%. I really and truly think that the virus is here. We have to learn to deal with it, and this thing called herd immunity. Again, I'm not a virologist, or I'm not a epidemiologist, but at the end of the day, we have to work and we have to live with this thing, because there's death that's going to be caused from not working. Like everybody's like, oh, the economy is more important. Well, yeah, 7 million people died from famine, just famine during the Great Depression, not counting spousal abuse, domestic abuse, suicides, alcoholism, alcohol sales. Dude, my realtor's husband is in the alcohol business. Bro, he's crushing it. Dude, we're going to have so many fucking drunk driving accidents. We're going to have so many fucking, people, and alcohol causes people to do stupid shit, like beat their wives and fucking do dumb shit. Everybody who's ever known an alcoholic knows this happens. So my thing is, you have to, look, at the end of the day, it's not popular to say it, but the bottom line is people are going to die either way. We have to weigh out what the less deaths are going to be. And right now, the deaths coming from these lockdown measures are going to be in the millions just from alcoholism and suicides and economic depression, millions. Whereas even in the greatest projection, which was way off by the guy who just got caught fucking a married woman and breaking lockdown. You read that, right?
Yes.
The dude who created the model literally
dweeby looking dude too.
Dude, but he was banging that girl. That girl was fucking hot, dude. Saying
She
he was,
definitely wasn't looking for looks when she found him, though. We know that.
bro. So she's married. Dude has COVID, breaks lockdown, risks infecting her whole fucking family.
To
And
go
this is the
negative.
guy. This is the guy who literally advised all these countries, including UK, US, to have draconian Wuhan style lockdowns. We literally put people in the back of buses and quarantine them. Like, these are the motherfuckers, these hypocrites that we're listening to. Fucking that ugly bitch from Chicago gets a fucking haircut while telling other
Yeah.
people she can't. I mean,
Beetlejuice.
and what's up with your governor's fucking nipple rings? Those are creepy. And
Yeah,
to
that's a $99,000 question. We're not
and,
sure.
like, take him out for the conferences, right? And fucking De Blasio's going to the gym and saying, "Well, I need to stay in shape because I love the gym." Well, fuck you. What about us? I'm
Yeah.
okay. And look, I love when people believe in something and do it. That's the thing, is that if we believe in something, we're gonna actually live by it, right? Like, these motherfuckers, they think they're above us and that the law doesn't apply to them. And
Yep.
that's the really, really sad part, is people aren't seeing this. Like the governor of Illinois, we're locked down. You can't go anywhere. But his family goes to fucking Florida to their vacation home. Is
Yeah.
anybody else? It's to the point now where these motherfuckers got to go. Like, this is insane. And
Yeah.
even I can't believe even liberals aren't fucking fuming and mad, and like, it's good for me but not for thee. And I'm like, well, fuck you, you fat fucking piece of shit. I'm just fucking over this shit, man.
It seems like the protesters are all conservatives, Trump backers, because most of when you see these protests, a lot of them are waving Trump flags and
Yeah.
MAGA hats, stuff like that. So exactly like you said, where are the liberals in this? They're losing money too. We're all in the same fucking boat here. So
I've seen a lot of people flip flop though. A lot of people who are pro lockdown, they're running out of shit, and their jobs. The thing is, like, I've known people personally where they're like, "Dude, I'm fine, I'm essential," but then their company's like, "Hey, we're having hard times. We got to." Dude, even New York State employees are going to be furloughed and laid off. All those people telling us to lock down. The longer this goes, and I think the original, like, if you're looking at conspiracies, I think the original plan is fuck the economy so Trump doesn't get elected. But I
yeah,
think Trump actually, and again, I'm just guessing because none of us know what the fuck that weirdo Trump thinks. He's a fucking crazy motherfucker. But I think Trump's like, let it go, because the Republican states, and let the states handle it. Because, like, Tennessee, we're not mad. Like, we're not mad at all. I just got done training at a gym with other people. We go to a restaurant, we eat food. Like, we're living normal lives. In the grocery store, people wear masks if they want. Um, and then, you saw in Texas that woman who got arrested for, opening her salon. Dude,
gasoline lady. Yeah,
she's got over $300,000 in
I
GoFundMe
saw
now.
that on Twitter right before the show. Yeah.
Bro, I'll do 7 days in prison for three. I even suck a dick a day. I'll
I
suck a
love the
dick a
way she
day.
just, she told the judge, and that was the post that me and you commented on.
Yeah.
It was like, I don't care. I'm not going to let my kids starve. We're opening our business, no matter
I
what you
would
say.
if I was not an essential business. We've been, I hate to use the term blessed because it's so, but I will say blessed or lucky or whatever it is, that our businesses were essential and we were growing before this, and it actually somewhat accelerated our growth because it's essential and it's internet and it's groceries. So we are very fortunate. But most people in our position, like, you don't see Amazon telling them to stop the lockdowns because Bezos is making cash. He made $9 billion in like an hour last week or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But that's just the lack of empathy. And human beings are unique to other animals in that we have the ability to empathize. And that's the problem with these stay-at-home Karens, is they have no ability to empathize about people who are losing everything, businesses going out of business, kids. Dude, there was a guy on Facebook, like, his son, because he was so disconnected from school in his life, he committed suicide. How many kids are going to die when this disease doesn't even affect kids? In Massachusetts, they haven't had one kid between 0 and 18 die of this.
Yeah.
Yet how many kids does the flu kill a year? It's absolutely insane.
Yeah. Now, listen, I'm kind of torn in the middle because I have two elderly sick parents. One is in a nursing home. The other one is in a hospital. So I'm worried about either or
I
both
get
of
it.
them catching this fucking thing, especially with the way Cuomo's handled the fucking nursing home situation. So I can understand certain things in lockdown, but I do also agree with you in many of the points you make. about it. We have to open things up again because we can't just fucking, we can't sit around forever. There are certain things like if they want to keep nursing homes shut down, like where there's no visitors. Now, I haven't been able to see my father since
Oh yeah, it's horrible.
February, really, like beginning of March. So I mean, it's tough, I mean, so I can understand that, but they have to reopen certain things. You could do it on a slow thing where certain things open, see how it goes, open up a little more, but they can't keep this shit shut down forever, and
No.
it's just going to cause a lot of huge problems for everyone. What's more important, money or lives? Well, like you said, sometimes they equal out because the money turns into lives.
Unfortunately they're not mutually exclusive. And I was all for, I thought when Trump came out with the national plan for phases, I thought it was entirely hater proof because it literally, the opening in phases, it said it where I thought the lockdown people were like, okay, cool, because he even said, hey, if we go into phase one and shit gets fucked up, we're going to step it back.
Sure.
And I thought even the most crazy of lockdown zealots would be like, hey man, that makes some sense. But instead, both sides got mad. It made nobody happy. The open it up people were like, no, it's over here. And then the lockdown people were like, so the problem is nobody's willing to just come by in the middle and say, hey, we do need to negotiate some things. And that's what, we're supposed to do in a republic as such as ours. But unfortunately, it's been drawn where we have, it's become a class warfare thing where the rich are getting richer and they're driving small businesses out of business. Tell me this, if people can go to like my Kroger, nobody's dead, Walmart is packed, Home Depot is packed, yet a fucking mom and pop store who sees maybe 3 to 4 people a day is a risk.
Business open. Yeah.
That's the problem. And we're not even like, we tell people to wear masks, but we're not really looking at the data. Look, I'm okay with masks, but if you look at conflicting data, it actually shows that when you have a mask on, and it increases. If you have it, it makes it even worse because you're literally infecting yourself over and over. And the moisture contains the virus. So, I mean, the problem is nobody knows what we're doing, and the phases don't even make sense. Like, why are some things phase 2 and some things phase 1? Like, there's no reason that. How is that more infectious than that? So, I mean, they're just making shit up at this point.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's really, it's confusing, it's frustrating, and I know you and I have gone back and forth on some of the posts with the cops, and that's what I was trying to explain to you. These guys want to be fucking doing that.
No,
Trust
they
me.
don't. No,
The
they
last
don't.
thing they want to do is go up to a fucking lady with a kid in the park or in front of a house saying you can't have the other kids, the neighbor's kids. Now, some of those cops are being dicks. I have no fucking qualms.
The ones I point out are dicks. The ones, you could tell the ones who don't want to do it, but the ones who literally seek out, like I might have gone overboard. Like the guys in Idaho, they were like, fuck, we're going to have to arrest this girl. Like those guys, I could tell they didn't want it. But the SWAT team, the big ass truck in Texas yesterday, dude's coming out with fucking SWAT gear for a bar.
Oh, that was like a tank. Yeah.
I want that. First of all, I want to buy that fucking car. I mean, but second of all, there's a time and place. And when you know that half the country is going to fucking hate you and the other half is going to think you might have overdone it, it's a lose-lose situation.
Yes.
Where you just got to have baby gloves. If the cops went up, and even if they're going, let's go, look, ma'am, we're going to have to arrest you. We don't want to, but here's what I'm begging you, just don't make me do this, but it's my job to do this. But the way they're doing it in such a dick manner. And I think, and that's the thing is like, it's a delicate balance because I wouldn't want to lose my job either. I don't want to lose my pension, but you think the police unions would be and a lot of these departments are speaking up. Like you said yesterday, NYPD spoke up. They're like, dude, we don't want to do this. They even called their leaders cowards, and that's ballsy. I love that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I showed you that thing from Pat Lynch, who's the PTA
awesome.
president. He's fucking great.
He's awesome. Yeah.
The regular cops love him. I mean, retired cops, we all love him. So he's got balls. I'm a retired sergeant. The union head, Eddie Mullins of my union, rips de Blasio and Cuomo all the time on Twitter. He's a great fucking follow. So they are speaking up for their troops, saying, listen, you're putting these guys in bad fucking spots, and you're not backing them up when they get into fights in the street over this. I mean, people are fighting them because they're telling them you can't do this. And then now they get into a confrontation, and now it's a fucking melee. So
I'll tell you what, nothing made me more upset than when people were like throwing like water balloons at cops and
Oh,
just
that was
fucking and they couldn't do anything. And then you have the in California, you had one guy last week get arrested 3 times because they're not holding criminals. Like
yeah.
it's getting to the point where it's kind of like they want the streets to be fucked up. Like they're releasing criminals and throwing salon shop owners in prison.
It's
Am I the only one seeing that there's something at play here that is well beyond our pay grade?
it's totally disgusting, and it's happening in the fucking common denominator is the fucking blue states, and mine is, fucking public enemy number one when that comes to letting guys go who just repeat within a fucking
Yeah,
week. They're
crazy.
back, and
It's
then they let them
crazy.
go again because they're afraid they're gonna catch fucking COVID in fucking Rikers Island. I mean,
Well, and you know what? You haven't heard about the jails having COVID deaths, and that's the thing. You had that pork plant in South Dakota. Was it South? One of the fucking states nobody cares about, and and they had they had 300 plus people infected, and not one showed any symptoms. So that's what's crazy
okay,
about COVID. COVID, and the difference between COVID and H1N1, COVID literally preys on elderly.
yeah,
Whereas H1N1, from my understanding, really did numbers to kids, and thank God it only killed 12,000 people. But you got to look at that, and then you look at, oh, we want a vaccine. Well, the H1N1 vaccine actually was shitty. Like people have long-term narcolepsy and a bunch of bad shit from this vaccine. And the one thing I know, you don't want, like, vaccines are meant to like last. You don't want to rush a vaccine. Like I want that to take 15 years to create. And even
mhm,
if it works, if it's like the flu vaccine, it's not really it's not really doing much. The flu vaccine helps, but we had 80,000 people die in 2017 with the vaccine. And what we
yeah,
have to realize is, dude, we're literally, every time we walk out the house, car accidents, 38,000 deaths a year, including 4 million which have to be hospitalized that don't die. And then you have the flu, which can kill up to 80,000 people with a vaccine. Every time you step out of your house, you are risking your life. And this is just something that we need to work with and we need to live with. And we need to be very cautious when it's, I don't know, do we know yet if it's seasonal like the flu, if it has its hot, or we don't know anything.
yeah, because we haven't been through that yet. We haven't gone from to hot, cold, hot back to the cooler. We haven't seen that yet because, I mean, I guess in other countries, I know like Australia is like X
Mm-hmm.
amount of months, for the all weather, what we consider winter, summer, spring, and fall. So I guess they would be kind of like the first areas of the globe which would be able to see how this
Yeah.
works.
And Florida literally had girls drinking beer off of each other's ass cracks when this shit
Not
broke
wrong.
out. Yeah, she was actually kind of attractive. And they were supposed to be the next New York City, and they had a pretty weak lockdown, and they're doing okay. Could Florida be doing better, or Taiwan, or any of these warmer weather countries? You don't really, I mean, you see it hitting the warmer weather, but is it one of those things where those states, maybe Florida did everything wrong, but they were just lucky because,
The
you
weather
know,
was there. Yeah,
yeah, I mean, New
it was
York's
a
cold.
amount.
My
Yeah,
county has 9 total deaths, 8 of them in nursing homes, in Williamson County. And it's been 80 degrees since March. I mean, we'll have a cold day like today,
yeah.
55 here and there, but like it ain't Chicago. Why is Chicago doing so bad? I know there's international travel, and Tennessee, which is only an 8-hour drive, doing much better. Could it be because Chicago's cold as shit? I don't know.
Yeah, well,
We,
that's kind of what Trump was saying at the beginning of this, is that it's probably going to get better as the weather gets warmer. So let's just try to contain it as best as we can
mhm,
in this meantime. So I mean, and then he, of course, got
yeah,
chided for that and all and
yeah.
everything. What is your beliefs on the start of this thing? Do you think it was man-made, an accident? I mean, what's your take on that? Just
From
just opinion.
from what I've read, for H1N1 or any of those other SARS, it would take a lot of time for it to evolve into this actual COVID-19. I do believe this was lab made, whether a bat came from the lab or they purposely let it loose. I don't
Yeah.
believe it was just some random fucking crazy motherfucker in China eating bat soup. I don't I don't think that. I think that I think that this was man-made. I mean, and I could be wrong, but the more experts I hear about it, it wasn't just some dude eating a raw bat. It was
Yeah.
definitely, in my opinion, from what I understand about this, lab made. I do not, whether it was, and I don't even know if it was intentional. I don't know if China, everybody has all these things about China, and I get into my statement on, I don't think we can do away with China trade because they just do things better than us manufacturing some things. They're
Yes.
such a part of our economy. It's like, hey man, we need to well, here's the thing, we can't default on our debt to China because, well, then no one would ever fucking buy our debt. We
Yeah.
need to pay them back. It's like, well, we just don't pay them back. It's like, that's not how the world works, son. Um, and everybody always talks shit about China while talking on their Chinese made phone, which I'm doing and you're doing and everybody's doing. Like, China is the fucking shit when it comes to manufacturing. Anybody who makes stuff knows that. But I do think that I don't think that China, that might not have even been malicious. I think they're as fucking mad as we are. In my opinion, this is my best guess. And I've known science guys, and they fuck up too. Someone probably didn't do all the protocols. Somehow this shit got out of the lab in Wuhan, and boom, it fucks up the world. And honestly, I don't think if it was a bioweapon, I don't think they would have done like in such a stupid way. Like, if you look how this shit spread, it was stupid. Like, I think they would have been more calculated. They would have framed somebody out here like, oh, the U.S. did it, which they tried to claim later, but I think that was just China being China. But I honestly don't even know if it was malicious. I just know that it's here now, and we need to fucking deal with it somehow.
Yeah, but what's puzzling to me, and I don't know if it was, I do believe it was man-made, and like they asked Trump, and the actual word that Martha McCallum used on Fox was, "Do you believe it was nefarious?" And he wouldn't say that, but he just said the report showing that it was from that lab, and they don't know how it got out, but that's kind of what they boiled it down to. But what's kind of weird is that it seems that when it first came out, there was like the symptoms were much lighter, like, okay, dry cough, losing taste and smell, and then all of a sudden people, and a slight fever, and then all of a sudden people were fucking like on their deathbeds within a few weeks. Like, the strain changed. Was it even the same one? That's what's like, it's who the fuck knows? That's what's the scary part.
Well, now they're saying this shit was here in November, which is
Reading that
crazy
this
because
morning. Yeah.
I mean, we had that. I've said this many times. I in December, January, I lost my voice. I've had the flu before. This wasn't the flu. And I remember I was in better shape. I was doing boxing training 3 days a week, and I hit the bag. Like, I'm like, cool. I went to after we moved to Tennessee. I'm like, I'm gonna hit the bag a little bit. And it was only like a week from when I did my actually trained boxing in Chicago, and I was like, I felt like my lungs were gonna explode after one fucking round hitting the bag. It wasn't like I was sparring or anything. And then, like, my son got sick, and we gave him Tamiflu, which usually for kids after a day, they're like, what happened? Dude, this shit went on for 5 days. And it was the exact incubation period they said it was. I have no doubt in my mind, a 99% positivity. My entire family had it. My brother had it. I think that a lot of us have had it. If you look at the data out of UCLA and Stanford, they had 40% estimated in people who've had it in California. And the reason is all the international travel. Every time I fly into LAX, Terminal 4, I believe, American, I think Terminal 6, there's always a fucking Chinese flight next to me. I kid you not. And I think and this guy just said it right here in the comments, I think the LA Fit Expo, I think we were all giving it to each other, man.
Yeah.
Giving hugs.
I was coughing that in January.
Yeah, we all had that. Everybody in the fitness industry already had it. But I remember reading on Twitter, like, everybody's like, yeah, man, I had this fucking flu, this super flu. This one boxer guy, Ed Lattimore, he's a great motivational guy. He had it. I remember reading it. I'm like, why are all these fitness guys fucking sick?
Yeah.
And it makes, now I'm starting to look back. I'm like, holy shit, man, this thing's been around. This thing's definitely been around.
Yeah, it definitely is. Like you said, you don't put the two together, but then when you start hearing stuff like that, and Rob Chaos is saying the same thing. A lot of us were fucking coughing and shit that weekend at the LA Fit Expo, and that was like, I think, the third weekend in January.
Yeah.
It's just it's fucking bizarre, but I think that, and then did you see the Project Veritas thing with CBS today? on
I
Twitter?
did. I did. I managed to look at that. I was right after we got done with the gym. I was kind of cooling down. I'm like, oh shit, there's that. Yeah.
It's like, okay, so there is some kind of political, partisan, whatever you want to call it,
Mhm.
plan to make this thing seem like it's going to end the world, right? And they, I don't know if they're looking to blame Trump, and that, I mean, that's my gut feeling is that the blue states and the left and the Dems are looking to blame him for it, so they could say, hey, you know, he fucked up, don't vote for him.
Oh
And
yeah.
so why would they be putting all of these fake people in line that were getting tested when there was like 3 people getting tested?
See, part of me wants to say it's completely partisan, but I grew up in the 80s and 90s, and the media has been bullshitting us forever. We just never had Twitter to verify it. Like, I mean, I don't think they've changed. I think they just want ratings. And honestly, like there's when I was a kid, we say don't ever watch news. I never watch news because there's never good news. They only report the bad stuff. And
Yeah.
my mom and dad used to say shit like that. So that's what's really funny is that I don't know if it's because they're bought and paid for by the Democrat Party. But then you look at the Obama years, and they really, honestly, other than a few fringe right wingers going at him, and nobody really said shit about anything he did. And that's actually, I'm not mad at Obama. Like I had some great years during Obama's presidency. I'm not going to be that guy. But like,
Yeah.
dude, they gave him an 8-year pass. They didn't
Oh,
say
without a
shit.
doubt. Yeah.
They didn't say shit. I think with Trump, they're just doing what they've always done. Like, dude, Clinton did like, don't forget, like when Clinton like fucking came on Lewinsky's dress, like they went at him. Like they
Yeah.
fucking went. I would say came at him, but that'd be pun. Uh, no, they went hard. I can't. What do I say without being pun? They went extremely
Hard.
negative.
No, well, that-
I mean, they were. Clinton got blasted by the media because
he
I
didn't get
remember.
a repass. Yeah, no,
No,
I remember
I
distinctly.
remember I
Yeah.
remember watching it like, dude, he just came on her dress. Who cares? Let it
Yeah,
go. That's between him and Hillary. Now the thing that got
exactly.
me is he did lie under oath. That's the only problem I had with that. I have no
Yeah,
problem.
but he kind of, we're both married, bro. We know you can't say that. If you're fucked up, you got to try to cover your ass. I didn't, and I always
Yeah,
disliked Clinton. I was not a Clinton fan, but I said at the time, and I'll be consistent, that's not an impeachable offense. That was
no. Just like Trump wasn't impeachable,
no
and
nonsense.
Clinton was not impeachment. That's why he didn't get impeached. Like the House, they recommend impeachment, then they go through trial in the Senate, and that's why you have the checks and balances.
Yeah,
But remember Nixon didn't even get impeached. He resigned because he knew he'd probably
he
lose.
would have
So,
though, and it was
oh,
legit because his own party members said they were gonna in
mhm.
the Senate were gonna vote to remove because he fucked up. You
He
know.
fucked up bad. Yeah. So I really think that right now, I don't know if again, I don't know. The media is biased. I mean, the media is not gonna argue about that anymore. But I think the media. I want to see them go hard on everybody. I want to see them fucking attack Pelosi. I want to see them attack Trump. I want to see
Yeah.
them attack Schumer. I want to see the media bring out because that's how you vet people. That's how you
Mhm.
find out the truth. Unfortunately, they're just going hard on one party, but luckily for us, there's social media, and people always blast social media. And social media is what's keeping everything honest right now. Like
Yeah.
that's where all the shit's coming out. And that's what's great is that you can keep the networks honest. We didn't have that in the 80s and 90s.
No, no. You had the radio or the TV. That was it. You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. So I
water
mean, yeah, and I mean, then you had before social media, you had Fox News come out. So you had all the way to the right, all the way to the left. And now you
Yeah.
have social media where we can all argue about it and try to find the
Yeah.
truth and get all these weird tapes out of all these exposés. You have YouTube, you have all this crazy shit. And we're in the most informed, like we're so informed that we don't even know what the fuck we're looking at. That people are confused.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like almost overkill at some point, even if
Oh,
it's accurate stuff.
yeah.
What's the feeling on? I know you said you're independent, but I can just tell by, your tweets and talking and stuff. You're probably more, right than you are left. Just by the stuff you're saying. What do you feel about Biden being propped up? And do you think he's actually going to be the nominee when it's all said and done? Because
He's
I
literally
don't,
being,
and I'll tell you
yeah.
why after
He,
you.
he's literally being propped up like Weekend at Bernie's, man. Like it's pretty sad. I do think he's going to end up being the nominee because they've already gone pretty hard, and it's fucking it's May, and that's a quick turnaround. But here's the and there's no real viable contender. Like, he actually won. Sanders is like 900 years old. I don't think he's the guy. I don't think the Democrats are dumb enough to put Hillary up there.
No.
Again, and anybody saying no, Hillary, trust me, I'm like, I'm not buying that. I think Biden's going to be the dude, and I think the Democrats realize this isn't their year, because the MAGA, like, I've never seen. Have you ever seen dude? Like, I've seen political rallies, but before this all went down, Trump was filling fucking stadiums with
I was
people
at one of
waiting
them.
outside.
Amazing, Mark. Amazing.
I mean, the thing is, he's gonna, in my opinion, it doesn't matter who they put up against him, unless for some reason another Obama comes up, who is just the perfect fucking candidate. Obama was the perfect candidate for the Democratic Party. He was amazing. He was just amazing, charismatic. My buddy's a reporter, and he interviewed him when he was a junior senator, and he said, you walk in the room and Obama, you might not like him, but you just like him. Like, he's such a fucking god.
He was elegant.
He is the dude. He is the fucking dude. I don't care what you MAGA people say. Obama was the most electable man in American history. And the fact that he only won by 2 to 3% shows that, well, we're a country that's literally fighting over the independence right now. Because the right's going to vote right, the left's going to vote left. You're fighting over that 2%. I do think, because of these lockdowns, I think no matter who runs, Trump's going to get over 300 delegates this time. I think it's going to be a runaway election. I think the polls are false, as we found out in 2016.
Oh, yeah.
They're meant to lead people. To say that, I saw a poll that said 78% of people believe the lockdowns are right. And I saw a poll that said, Whitmer is loved in Michigan. There's no fucking way. The bottom line is, I don't know who the fuck they're polling, but it's nobody I've ever met or ever heard of. Maybe some of the crazy wackos on Twitter, who you don't know if they're even real, because this bot thing, I don't even know how that works. I think Biden's, my guess is Biden's the guy. They're going to try and put him up with a VP that complements the Senate, because he's not going to live through the presidency. He's 78 years old. He already can't remember where he's at. Somehow he grew hair since 1980. I have no clue how that happened. But yeah, have you seen that? He was bald as shit. But I think
I just noticed that when you said it.
I'm going to go on a limb. I'm one of the only ones who says I think Biden's their guy, and I think they're going to try and line him up with a VP, and they're going to just plan for 2024 as their comeback, because I think they know Trump's momentum. And even if you hate Trump, I'm not the biggest. I've become a little more fond of Trump throughout this election. I was not a Trump fan in 2015 for sure. But I think he's the guy, and I think they're just going to try and find a VP who's going to make him a lot more likable, and give him a chance. But I don't think they have any intention of winning 2020.
I think, obviously I could be wrong. What the fuck do I know? But I just have a feeling that they're not trying to kill. I mean, they're not trying to really protect him when it comes to the sexual abuse allegation with this Tara Reid brought. It seems that some of them are, but a lot of them are kind of they're letting him take his, 40 whacks, right? I have a feeling when it comes down to the convention that they're going to pull him out for, I think it's going to be clinical purposes because of obviously he's got dementia. And I have a feeling they're going to put Cuomo in there, an 11th hour candidate. I hope I'm wrong, because he's got more charisma and he's a better bullshit artist, and he doesn't have dementia.
Well, he's a New Yorker.
I dealt with his fucking father for a million years.
Oh, God.
The last thing I want is him as the president.
Yeah, Cuomo would also, he would do well in debates. He would do fantastic.
He's a very well-spoken man, yeah.
Very well. I think that'd be, but I personally want to see Trump versus Biden, just for the comedy of the debates.
Gonna be great.
It will be better than anything we've ever seen on TV. Yeah. I mean, and Trump versus Hillary was amazing. His one-liners.
Yeah.
But dude, Biden, the fact he doesn't even know where the fuck he is will be the greatest thing. And here's the deal: everybody was afraid of Trump. This, that, and let's say the pandemic didn't happen, everybody's life got better. Everybody prospered during Trump's presidency. Nobody had worse health insurance. Nobody had, the country was doing really well. And I always ask people, I hate Trump. Okay, how has your life changed since 2015 and 2018? That's what I used to say. And they're like,
Mm-hmm.
well, Orange Man bad. It's like, well, I want to know, how personally do you hate your taxes being better? Like, what part of people are suffering? Who? And I don't know anybody whose situation improved under Obamacare. Mine certainly, like, I provide insurance for my employees, and our rates went up
You got
48%.
crushed, probably. Yeah.
48% for shitty coverage. Our coverage has never recovered from Obama.
Oh,
And
man.
that's criminal. It's criminal. And the ACE, I can't believe they're still talking about the Affordable Care Act like it's a good thing. It was the worst thing you could possibly do to people and to businesses,
Mm-hmm.
other
Yeah.
than
No,
just
it was
forcibly shutting
a,
them down.
a
That's what we did.
huge, impact it had on, small, medium, even large business owners,
Horrible.
because it cost so much money, and it was very streamlined. So you couldn't, like, you can keep your doctor was the famous last words. Of course, we know that was all BS in the long run. But that was, so from personal experience, I worked for muscular development then, and I have my benefit from my retirement, so I don't need
Yeah.
benefit. So I'm not going to put in part
No.
of my check to have a secondary. I don't need it. So
No.
they were so happy because I saved them money. I wasn't
Yeah.
costing them money with the insurance. They loved me because of that. They
Well, I
didn't love
mean,
me for other reasons, but that's different.
well, black men will love you if you save them a dollar, right?
Yeah, until I went against them every minute. Then I
Well,
wasn't working then.
yeah, sometimes when you disagree, that's not a good thing.
No, no.
Yeah,
But
but
you hit the nail on the head. Obamacare, and my doctor, I've been going
horrible.
to the same doctor for like 30 years. He said Obamacare killed him. He lost
Oh,
so
yeah.
many patients because of that. It was
Yeah,
just ridiculous.
it was an overall bad situation, and you have to be a partisan sheep to not see that overall that was a seriously bad move. And not saying our healthcare is better as is, but I lean on libertarian side for that. I'm like, you know what? Um, if we privatize and make sure that you're able to compete. The thing that fucked up insurance is the fact that government got involved. Like, they
Yes.
got involved, and they picked and chose winners. And as we see with big pharma, when government gets involved, it never ends well. And let's talk about Social Security. Let's talk about everything government does, and
Hmm.
it's not a good situation.
No, I agree. I mean, Social Security obviously is good for later years, but that was your people out of like
Oh, we're back.
the thin air. They don't realize that
Yeah.
that was their money that was taken out of their paychecks for 40 years or whatever the case may be.
Well, you don't get back everything you put in. I'm putting in way more than I'm getting back. I
Yeah.
think Chris Rock put it the best in Bring the Pain. Social Security, shouldn't some guy come to you and be like, hey, do you want us to take away money for your retirement? He's like, no, I want to spend that shit now. I think we should have the option to privatize it. I don't want to pay. I don't want the government, like Al Gore said, we're going to put it in a lockbox. What the fuck are you talking about? Like, you're using that.
They're
That's a big
investing in
fund.
it.
Yeah, we want government to invest shit. So, I think overall, we're America, when this thing ends, we're going to bounce back tremendously. The stock market, which you have to look at, people go, well, that doesn't equal Main Street. It's only Wall Street. I'm like, no, that's bullshit. The stock market has everything to do with optimism and investment, and
Yeah.
you have to look at it as a barometer of optimism. And you got to look at America. We dipped and we took a huge hit, but we have the biggest growth since I think 1982 or some shit like that. Like, it's insane the amount of growth. I think it was 112% or something growth. We're back up to 24K in the stock market. Remember, under Obama, it never got over 18. So our
Yeah.
stock market's still through the roof. There's still a lot of optimism. There's a lot of growth that's going to happen, and America is going to be in a really good spot. I'm very optimistic. Very optimistic.
Yeah. I mean, the stock market, I mean, people go, oh, he only wants with 401k. I always say, get a real job that has a
Yeah,
retirement plan, that has medical coverage, and these things pertain to you now.
they
I mean,
do,
if
and
you're going to be
everyone
with
should.
the problem with what Obama did was that he made, because of Obamacare, now guys couldn't get full-time jobs
Exactly.
because they couldn't afford to pay them the 40 hour,
Mhm.
because now they were independent contractors and or part-timers.
Yep.
Then all of a sudden, the $15 minimum wage to flip hamburgers, because grown men were trying to use those jobs to pay their bills because they couldn't get the other jobs.
Yeah.
That's jobs we did when we were fucking juniors in high school, not a
Yeah.
grown man, children. So, I mean, I always was so against, oh, the unemployment rate was better with him. Let's look at how. Let's look inside those numbers. They're not raw numbers.
No.
The
No.
manufacturing jobs bringing back with 401ks, retirement plans, and medical coverage, like Trump did, bring those back to America. That's a job. That's a career. He's a career builder, not a job
Yes.
builder.
Yeah.
So,
You got. I did an event. I was doing a tour. I went to Mankato, Minnesota. And I looked around, and there's all these new shopping centers with Kohl's and all these new restaurants. And like, it used to be like I went to a local restaurant. He wasn't too happy about it, but I'm looking, there's Olive Gardens and this, that, the other. And I'm like, I asked somebody in there, I'm like, what happened? He's like, our manufacturing, and this is back in 2018. So our manufacturing is back. He's like, ever since Trump got elected, this thing has blown up. So basically Trump did bring jobs back to America. And I didn't know this till I did that tour. So a lot of people in New York, California, Chicago, even here in bumfuck Tennessee, don't understand that in these manufacturing communities, they love them some fucking Trump because he got them jobs back. So I saw this firsthand, and I myself, living in Illinois at the time, didn't know this was happening. So you got to detach yourself and realize, there's a lot more people in this country who literally have a different perspective than you and have a different lifestyle. I was sitting with one of our ad agencies in California in Howard Hughes Center, overlooking, entire, Culver City and all that. And they're like, they hate Trump. I said, okay, I get it. I know. But so let me ask you this. I'm like, what about those people down there? Like, you're in your high rise complaining about Trump, and have you ever thought what they think? It's that elitist attitude. And I'm not going to sit here. I'll call Trump out all day long. I'll call anybody out there wrong. But at the end of the day, I think right now we're seeing hyper partisanship more than ever. But it's being exacerbated by social media. It's already been here. Reagan, I mean, you're old enough to remember, dude, they hated Reagan.
I voted for him.
Yeah, I'm not that old, but Reagan literally used to get on and call them limousine liberals. And, he had all these, he just used to trash them. Imagine if Reagan had Twitter.
It would have been great. Yeah,
it would have been Reagan would have been, and Reagan, we've already had Trump, dude. Reagan was an actor. He was hyper partisan, hyper conservative. He had dude. I saw somebody literally had a Reagan Bush fucking bumper sticker driving home today. And granted, I'm in fucking Tennessee, but like, holy shit. I'm like, dude, that's crazy that I even saw that. So, I'll be real. Like, me, I just want what's best for the country. And if that's going to be, if there's a Democrat, like, I'm going to be like, hey, that's great. But right now, as we talked about earlier, I do see myself evolving into a Republican. And I do see, because I can't see myself voting for Democrats now. I just can't do it, especially after going at Kavanaugh and Biden literally stuck his fingers in a girl and nobody cares. And they're calling her a liar. What about all women matter? What about, believe all women? What about Me Too? It's all bullshit. So I can't.
Hypocritical.
I just can't get on board. I can't get on board that, man. It's just, and that's my problem. I'm all for, like, dude, and also all the governors, like you said before, completely going straight tyrant on us. They're all wearing blue.
Yeah.
All of them.
And that's kind of what I was saying. It's like he gave them. He didn't wave, his, the sword. He let them do their thing.
Yeah, and
so I'm almost giving them a little rope. It seems too.
I'm walking back.
Underbalance.
I'm like you, dude. I react. I'm like anybody. I'll react. I'll be like, why isn't Trump fucking doing something? And now I'm like looking at it. I'm like, holy shit, that crazy motherfucker might be onto something.
Lit, bro. I'm telling you.
I think I might be wrong. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm wrong, because that's someone really smart told me that. He's like, just look around. He's like, there's protests. Like, you literally have, like, and they're interviewing, and these protesters aren't like doing the exit. Like, they interview people after these protests, like these little and they're not all like fucking MAGA. These are just people who want their jobs back. So I don't know.
As folks, middle
I mean,
America kind of guys.
it's crazy to even watch this, but you know what? It's a unprecedented thing in American history, and we're learning as we go. And luckily, I think America's still great. America's still the best. It's a great country. It's afforded us a lot of opportunities. I'm sitting out here. It's just what you make of it. And remember, if you don't like where you live, there's 50 states, and we're not a democracy. We're not. We're not majority rules. We're a republic. A republic of 50 states. That you're right. Trump can't go state to state and say, hey, that's wrong. He can influence, but he can't. His job, like the federal guidelines, are just that guidelines. Trump can't say, here's how you open back the economy. That's why I love what he's doing with the 10th Amendment. So remember, we're not a democracy. We're not by democratic rules. We're a republic of 50 sovereign states, period. And the president is just kind of overseeing them. Think about him as a consultant, right? Like, and if shit goes wrong, he sues them. And that's what he does. So this is not, we cannot compare ourselves to the UK. We cannot compare ourselves to Sweden. We cannot compare ourselves to anything. And that's why we have the 11th Amendment. If you don't like the 10th Amendment, the way your state is working, you have the right to move.
Yeah.
You can get out. And I did. I moved from Illinois to fucking Tennessee, mainly because it fits who I am and what I believe in. And it's a better place to raise my children.
Yeah.
And it's not cold.
My kids are a lot older than yours, so we have to wait for the empty nest. Plus our parents' situation isn't good.
I get it.
Abandoning ship now. But eventually we're moving to red state because I just can't deal with the taxes, the liberals, the filthiness, the fucking savages, letting them all out of jail.
Savages.
Mark, it's driving me out of my mind. I sit there and argue with these jerk-offs on Twitter about, fucking this guy got let out of jail, and it was a white privilege. He would have been, never got locked up in the first place.
Yeah.
I can't even start with that. So I can't wait. When the time is right, I'm like you said, I don't like New York. My wife and I decided we're going probably South Carolina. Nice weather, quiet, no dealing with nonsense. The taxes are going to be a joke compared to what I'm paying now.
Great.
And it's a better lifestyle.
And that's why, it cost me a lot of money to move. And that's unfortunate because a lot of people can't afford to move out of Illinois. They're stuck.
Yeah.
And after this pandemic, property rates have been going down so dramatically in Illinois that you're going to lose money. A lot of people, I was lucky where my house actually we put in money, but our sale price was slightly higher than what we bought it for. We still lost probably 90 grand or so. But, at the end of the day, they're stuck. So you literally have to bankrupt your family to move. So a lot of people can't move. And now Illinois is trying to pass a law where they literally charge you to leave the state, which I don't believe will hold up in court. Yeah, how fucked up is your state when you have to charge people not to leave? Like that's insanity. That just shows you're a failure. And They keep electing these idiots. And we actually had a decent governor, Ronner, but the state legislature would shut down everything he does because they're not even registered Democrats, bro. They're registered socialists. I shit you not. The Chicago City Council are literally registered socialists. I shit you not. And
how is that illegal? I mean, it's just like.
Well, Illinois is actually a red state with this little blue epicenter called Cook County that fucks it up for everybody.
Yeah. Well, that's New York too. The 5 boroughs the population is so, big in the 5 boroughs that it cancels out this huge fucking state that goes all the way up to Canada. It's ridiculous.
I did that tour in upstate New York earlier this year, and dude, that's MAGA country up there, man. I mean, they made me look like a fucking liberal. They were so right wing. I'm like, people were coming in there, like, just talking, like, they would literally bring it up, like, hey man, do you like Trump? I'm like, whoa, let's at least get to know each other. I don't want to get into this right now, but yeah, it's one of those where I'm like, you got to look at, like, as a business owner, you don't want to polarize people. Jordan said it best. Republicans buy shoes too. But
I think, exactly.
I think that we're in a different world where I think we should be able to discuss things. I do think that you have to almost now in the state we're in and social media world, people want to know what your values are, what your background is, and they want to know what you stand for. And me, I stand for freedom, and I don't care which party is the party of freedom. But if it's the Republicans, and Republicans aren't perfect. In fact, I think most of them are scumbags. But if you look at the two parties, I look at the entire Democratic platform. if there's not one thing that I fundamentally agree with, I could claim I'm just not a Democrat. But wouldn't the logical thing, if I'm going to vote to the right every time, just to say I'm a Republican? Because I've noticed I've been voting Republican for a long time, and
Yeah,
I thought that Tulsi, I liked her a lot. I liked what
I
she
did
stood
too.
for.
I actually did. Yeah, and
I,
you
I
had
liked,
mentioned in a tweet yesterday or this morning.
and I'm like, and as soon as she backed Joe Biden, I'm like, that just because she was always the one who's like, even the Republican, like the Democrats literally shit all over her, and she
Yep,
was like, she stuck her ground, she stood her ground,
he was
and
going
then
after Hillary and stuff. That was
and I
great.
loved it. And then she supported Biden. I'm like, I'm out. I'm
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
she was my one holdout, and she's hot. I'm not gonna lie.
I thought she was fucking hot as fuck too.
Ridiculous.
She was easy to look at. She was a veteran, so you respect that.
Oh yeah.
So, and all of a sudden, and she was pissing in Hillary's fucking cornflakes. And
And I
then,
loved
like,
it. It was great.
company mind at the end of the day,
If she
so.
would have, if old Tulsi before the Biden thing would have run against Trump, it would have been. I would have voted. I'm not gonna lie. I would have probably given her my vote. Not gonna lie. The
I'm
new
a Trump guy
Tulsi.
through and through, but I respected her. And if he did lose to her, I wouldn't be fucking,
No,
rolling over, can't sleep tonight,
no,
because
no.
at least I a lot of the things she brought to the table.
Yeah, she was genuine, and you could tell she sold out. And
Yeah,
I just can't.
they
That was
all
the
do.
last. That was my last hope for the Democrat Party.
They all.
It,
Trump's the only guy that hasn't sold out. Now you remember, obviously, it's the near past, recent past, the never Trumpers in the first 2 years. That's why nothing. Oh well, the Republicans they ran everything, House, Senate, and White
yeah,
House. Why didn't they pass their rules and get rid of Obamacare then? Because you had these douchebag never Trumpers like
yep,
fucking Flake. Those
yeah.
guys, we had to wait till
I
they
remember
were
that
gone.
guy.
And then in that 2 years, a lot of shit happens. They flipped the House. Congratulations to them. They made a good argument and they flipped the House. But
Yeah,
I think people see now. I mean, it's key for him to not only win, but he's got to get that House back because we're going to be
and
going 4 more years of the same shit again.
honestly, I see even Nashville's blue as shit, and I see them turning red. I do because they're again, Governor Lee did the same thing that Trump did, but on a minor scale. He's like,
Mm-hmm.
hey guys, why don't we let the mayors of these big cities, these liberals, why don't they're in charge? And this guy keeps pushing it back, pushing it back. People from Nashville, like literally, like half my fucking gym's filled with Nashville people. They got to drive 20 minutes, but like they get to do everything. They're free again. They're like, whoa! So this is what it's like to have a Republican mayor.
Yeah. See, I
So
wonder when New York finally gets the okay, considering obviously you go to Manhattan, right? Times Square. You can't move. It's fucking shoulder to shoulder, the normal before certain
it's crazy,
circumstances.
yeah.
Then you go somewhere like where fucking Buffalo, New York.
It's
I
empty.
mean, it's sparse. So that
Uh-huh.
New York is different than the city of New York. Are they going to do similar to what you guys did down there and say this section's open, this one isn't? I mean, I think they would have to.
The best way to do it, as I think what Governor Lee did, which I thought was great, and that's like, hey, look, he identified. He's like, okay, 90. I think it was like other than 6 counties, like 89 counties.
Yeah.
Okay, those counties, you're opening. Here's what's happening. However, Don Davidson, which is Nashville and Knox and all these, it's up to your mayors. So he put together the Tennessee Pledge, and he let the mayors decide what to do with their respective cities that were
Yeah.
outside of that pledge.
It's great, man. Bro,
Yeah.
I'm getting a countdown. I got less than a minute left. Throw out any plugs you want, Mark. Go ahead.
No, man, tigerfitness.com is all I got, man. I'm good for the day.
Give me a boom. Give me a boom.
Boom.
Mark
All right, thanks so much for
Lobliner,
having me,
thank you
brother.
so much.
Take
I'll
care,
see you
man.
on Twitter, bro.
All the best.
Later, man. There he is, Marc Lobliner.